AI is moving fast. So fast, it's hard to keep up. In fact, in ServiceNow's latest AI Maturity Index, scores dipped 20% from last year. But that's okay, because AI isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You may be behind today, but tomorrow you could be a pace setter. Dive into ServiceNow's AI Maturity Index and see how you can innovate as fast as your ambitions. Visit servicenow.com/AI maturity.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
A previously deported illegal immigrant accused of shooting an off-duty CBP officer in the face. It happened Saturday night around midnight in New York City, and Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary, set to give an update a few minutes from now.
So the victim is in stable condition. We just learned Secretary Noem left the hospital a moment ago after visiting that officer. He was off duty at the time. Video shows the suspect and another man approaching him on a scooter. The suspect then tries to what looks like rob him at gunpoint. The agent pulls out his own gun. They both exchange fire. That agent managing to wound the suspect. His accomplice, though, still at large.
So the suspect in custody is from the Dominican Republic, previously deported, but re-entered the U.S. under President Biden in 2023. We have heard that before. He's wanted in Massachusetts on kidnapping and weapons charges as of today.
Hi, Jillian. This case has the attention of the White House. As you said, this morning, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem visited the off-duty CBP agent who is now recovering in the hospital. And in a matter of moments, we expect her to give an update here.
Welcome, my friends, to the Monday edition of Both Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. Today, we will speak a lot about some of the news stories concerning immigration. Also, of course, the big bombshell news we got last week on the criminal referrals to the Department of Justice regarding what could be, very well could be, the biggest scandal in American political history, that being of the Obama administration doing their best to participate in a coup against the then incoming president, Donald Trump. That is being pushed back on, and we'll have some audio for you to listen to. Face the Nation was actually interested enough that they covered the story as a way of trying to deflect it. You know, it's so strange. You look at some of the mainstream press news outlets, the press outlets, the print outlets, they don't even have it on their splash pages, most of them. You have to search for it. They are pretending, just like they've done with so much other news, that if they are not covering it, it doesn't really exist. Or if they're not giving it prominence, it doesn't exist. Before we get into any of that, I just want to say a word to the family, of course, and friends and fans of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who passed away, we learned early this afternoon, from drowning in Costa Rica. And I've always been, drowning. What a... Anyway, he played the role of Theo Huxtable for 8 seasons, 197 episodes in The Cosby Show, and then later on appeared in the sitcom Malcolm and Eddie, and he's done so many other roles in his brief young lifetime. But I tell you, that role as Theo Huxtable really made him a beloved character to many. Exemplary performances from him. And so our condolences to the family, fans of Theo Huxtable. Now there's also in the news, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will get to the Hunter Biden stuff. Oh, goodness gracious. I just heard from the Countess of Conspiracy, who is visiting overseas across the pond. She and Tom Bond, the cousin of MI5's James Bond. Yes, Carlos, yes. They are together in that part of the world across the pond. I will not give their exact location because, of course, of Mr. Bond's popularity. It might be compromising some vital mission if I let people know exactly where they are. But they're listening from abroad, and so it's so nice to have you there. Let us get started, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly and do this story first. The hoax, the coup. Representative Jim Hines from Connecticut was on ABC News, or was it CBS? I thought it was CBS. Anyway, he said there is no legal basis for prosecuting this case. And listen to this rationale that he gives. This is cut one, Carlos. Representative Jim Hines.
Just statement of fact here. A bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee investigation found that the U.S. intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election was correct. They deemed it to be so on a bipartisan basis. I'm saying that because today and yesterday, the director of the intelligence community, Tulsi Gabbard, has said that she is referring for prosecution former American officials she accused of treasonous conspiracy, a years-long coup against President Trump, because they assessed Russia had tried to influence the election. This is weeks after the CIA director issued a report critiquing the tradecraft that went into that 2016 assessment. Is there any legal basis for any kind of prosecution here?
None. Absolutely none, Margaret. What you saw from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was not just a lie, but a very dangerous lie, because when you start throwing around language like sedition and treason, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, you pointed out that the Senate committee, then led by Marco Rubio, a Republican and now Secretary of State, found unanimously that Russia meddled in the election to try to assist Donald Trump. John Durham, special counsel appointed by Donald Trump, investigated this, found that the Senate report was correct. Now, what Tulsi is doing, it's a little sleight of hand, but it's worth focusing on. She is saying that the Intelligence Committee early on said that the Russians could not use cyber tools to mess with the voting infrastructure, the machines that tally our votes. And that was true then, and it is true now. Though the Russians tried to break into a couple of states, election technical infrastructure, they didn't do it. But it is well known and well established that the Russians hacked into the DNC and undertook any number of other influence operations, including buying reams of Facebook ads to discredit Hillary Clinton. That is not in contention, right? And what is horrifying about this whole lie out of Gabbard is, number one, it puts people at risk. And right now, the mouth breathers on MAGA online are just going out of their minds based on a lie. And number two, the intelligence community is full of very, very good people who do their jobs every single day, and now they're watching their leader do something that each and every one of them knows is dishonest. And it is a really, really bad thing for the safety and security of the American people when that dynamic is out there.
Now, he had one other, and I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to address some of the things that he said. You talk about a sleight of hand. That's what this guy's trying to do. You talk about a sleight of hand. But first, let me just, this one, and it's CBS, it's not ABC, it's Margaret Brennan on Disgrace the Nation. Face the Nation, Disgrace the Nation. But it's cut to, Carlos, Jim Hines with Margaret Brennan, and she gets embarrassed regularly. She gets anytime she has, Rubio has just kind of just sliced and diced her over and over again. And yet she still brings him back. At least that takes courage. But anyway, this is another quote, another clip from the appearance of Representative Jim Hines in Connecticut trying to discredit Tulsi Gabbard. And let's listen in.
Margaret, if I may, you asked about the referral. Here's the test. This is Epstein all over again. Criminal referrals. We're going to prosecute Barack Obama. Treasonous and seditious. Here's the thing, and I hope that 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, don't take it from this Democrat. 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, let's see if this administration, Tulsi Gabbard accusing a former president of treason. Let's see if they bring charges. They won't. They won't, because there's not a judge in the land, not a single judge, who will treat this with anything other than laughter that will be heard from the Atlantic to the Pacific in this country. So the test of this is 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, is the DOJ bringing charges? And the answer to that is no. And now we're going to be in Epstein world where, like, wait a minute, treasonous conspiracy by a former president. Why isn't the Department of Justice bringing charges? And the answer to that question is that it is a lie.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he threw the gambit out there. We'll see what happens. But I will say this idea, number one, a Senate committee looked at that and the Senate committee found this, that, and the other. Fine. And this other idea, the reason that we shouldn't believe this, there are so many fine people in the intelligence community and they're watching their leader. There's so many fine people that work here. And so we shouldn't actually be investigating at all because they're good people. They're wonderful people in there. And we're not talking about the people that do the intelligence, at least not most of them. We're talking about the Democrat Party leadership. We're talking about Barack Obama. We're talking about Hillary Clinton. We are talking about Brennan. We're talking about Clapper. We're talking about, in some cases, John Kerry. We're talking about the entire effort to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump with what was a lie. None of them. This congressman hasn't responded to, Jim Himes, what actually took place. The corruption of the FISA courts and all this. Going to get information by lying to the FISA courts and the FISA court signing off on it. No one's ever been held accountable there. This entire dossier was fake. He doesn't mention that. He's talking about lies. The entire premise of a lot of this intelligence was fake. The reporting on it, we now know, was fake. So don't tell me what happened in the Senate committee with Marco Rubio. You're looking at it, you're trying to take something completely out of context to the new information. And the new information that was only just released was that Obama, and this was the first time his name came up in any of this, finally, Obama is the one who ordered the intelligence that was generated to be disregarded and ordered, it is alleged, that new intelligence based on a factual premise that they knew was incorrect be generated so that they could smear Donald Trump. So this guy can dance and tell us all about how the good people of the Intelligence Committee won't do, and no judge in America is going to do this, no judge is going to do that. He has to throw in Epstein and all the rest of it. Fact of the matter, what Democrats are alleged to have done is a treasonous conspiracy that will be, if proven to be correct, the biggest political scandal in American history, period. And you can try to dance it. You can try to shake people's faith in Tulsi Gabbard. You can tell us how wonderful the people in the Intelligence Committee are. You can do all of that, but you're not, you, Mr. Jim Himes and Margaret Brennan over at Disgrace the Nation, are not telling us anything regarding the central issues to these allegations. Did Barack Obama deny intelligence reports that said Russia did not have the means to alter the course of our election? Did they demand that intelligence cook the books and come back with new phony intelligence that they then used against Donald Trump? It's a simple question, and all this dancing and all that stuff is not giving us the answer to it, Representative Himes. So keep on dancing around. As you said, the DOJ has the referral now. We'll see what happens. James Golden, Snerdley. Oh, we're going to hear from Tulsi, too. Why, Carlos, this seems like our friend from Coldplay.
Yeah, Boy Chris made the headlines this weekend that passed. He also did back in 2003 because he was charged with malicious damage in Australia after he allegedly attacked a photographer's car.
Wait a minute. The guy that just caused all that grief to this CEO, astronomer, whatever, by putting up the camera there in the show, he attacked a photographer?
Looks like he also didn't have a good relationship with cameras back in the day.
So in 2003, this guy didn't like cameras on him. He was surfing, apparently. And he was ticked off that somebody was taking pictures of him. Huh. What comes around again. James Golden, Snerdley, don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
When we get back from our next break, ladies and gentlemen, we're just having a nice Monday musical interlude right now. But I'm going to play Tulsi Gabbard's response to all this that's going on. So, and then we'll deal with the Hunter Biden stuff. Hunter Biden, it was an incredible interview in so many ways. Never seems to be enough time. This, the fastest hour in American media. James Golden, Bo Snerdley, so glad you're here. Also coming up, there's so much happening in the world of immigration, and we'll tackle some of it. So whatever you do, keep it right here and enjoy Jim Croce.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Monday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. All right, I promised you Tulsi. And let's get to Tulsi and then let's get to Hunter. So cut 3, this is how Tulsi is responding. Now, she didn't respond directly to this interview on Disgrace the Nation with Margaret Brenner and Representative Jim Hines, but Democrats are trying to push back. She's not letting it go.
The intelligence community assessed, and this is what the documents detail, the intelligence community assessed essentially Russia doesn't have the tools, the capability, or the intent to try to change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Donald Trump pulls off a historic victory against Hillary Clinton in November of 2016. Even in the days after that election, the intelligence community continued their consistent assessment that reflected the same thing in the months leading up to the election. All of a sudden, in the early days of December, there was a president's daily brief that was drafted. This is put together by the different elements of the intelligence community that reflected that same assessment. Russia did not try to hack the election, in essence. That PDB, that document, was pulled hours before it was supposed to be published for the president to see that following morning. That document was never published until we released it yesterday. One day later, President Obama calls a meeting of his National Security Council, his top officials, to be held on what they called a sensitive topic. And the results of that meeting, which we released yesterday, and these over 100 documents that talk about in detail how President Obama and his team, he directed a manufactured piece of intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome of the United States election that President Trump won in November of 2016. This document was then used as the foundation for everything that came next. It was essentially a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump before he even had the opportunity to take his oath of office and be sworn in as President of the United States. So, as you know, there was a Mueller investigation that went on for years, cost taxpayers nearly $40 million. There were 2 congressional impeachments. President Trump and almost every member of his family were smeared and attacked, faced lawsuits, depositions. High-level officials were investigated, some were arrested and put in jail. The list goes on and on about the ramifications of this, but foundational to it all was the fact that we had in President Obama and his leadership team people who did not want to accept the will of the American people in electing Donald Trump in 2016, and therefore cooked up this treasonous conspiracy to, again, try to effectively, and they did effectively, launch a years-long coup against the sitting president of the United States.
Now, Mr. Hines never addressed that issue of it. Instead, they're telling us how nice the people are that work in the intelligence community. Oh, they're great, wonderful, nice people. And they're telling us that, the DOJ is never you won't find a judge. We'll see what a judge will do. This is it. And by the way, they're really upset because, Donald Trump loves to troll these people. So Donald Trump reposted an AI-generated video of Obama being handcuffed. And the left, of course, having a cow about that. Hysterical. Okay, Hunter Biden, let's get right to the Hunter Biden interview. Hunter Biden sat down and was asked about all sorts of things. How was your daddy? How those people, those Democrats that came after your daddy? Let's just start with that one. Cut 4. And we'll just take it from there.
Him and everybody around him are not to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times on me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod. And David Plouffe and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior speechwriters on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40-50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times. How to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention...
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper...
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to after he put the book out. And, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
So, F. George Clooney, F. James Carville, he's a loser, hasn't done anything since he got Clinton elected. F. David Axelrod and the whole gang that have been exploiting Obama to make money. F. Jake Tapper. Okay. Let's move on. Let's listen to Hunter Biden's policy wonking on immigration. Cut 5. And then play cut 6 right afterwards.
And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the criminals. White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm Emanuel. So smart Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that appealed to those white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did not because he appeased their Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. And then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say you. How are we getting those people back from El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the president of El Salvador and say, you either send them back or I'm going to invade. It's a crime what they're doing. He's a dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
Bukele and Trump are dictators.
Like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. You. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you have food on your table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your garden? Who do you think is here by the sheer just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the criminals?
Oh, my word. And, of course, this is the usual. Who do you think does all your dirty work? It's those Hispanics. This is what Joe Biden, this is what the Democrats think of. Y'all are the new excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Y'all are the new anyway, I just better leave that part of it alone, my friends, before I get myself into some serious trouble. Let's move on. I'm not even going to deal with this business of him praising Tim Walz and Kamala Harris because he does that. Oh, Tim Walz, Westmore, they're strong heroes. Let's go on to the thing that really animates Hunter Biden. That clip I sent you, Carlos, and we hope that we didn't leave any language in there that could be offensive. This may be the only one where he doesn't curse up a storm. It's on his favorite topic. Listen to this. This.
No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool.
Yeah.
Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
oh, in that sense, oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't know how
Yeah.
similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to, like, a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, you know, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing?
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway.
That's Hunter Biden. Wow, you say?
Here's the handbook.
Here's the handbook. Here's your crack handbook. No, man, it's clean. No, this is just, you actually burn off the impurities so that when you smoke it, you know, you're getting like the real clean thing. I don't want to go on, you know, waxing eloquently about or euphorically about the euphoria that I have with crack. Your crack cocaine is clean. Everybody. No, I didn't say that. I'm just kind of implying it.
Safer than alcohol.
Safer than alcohol. It's crack can, and especially if you can take some nice pictures while you're.
Make sure your mom has a couch.
Oh man, this is Hunter Biden uncut, so to speak. A little cocaine language for some of you. Uncut. Okay, let's take a break. Carlos, why are you shaking your head like that?
That's a weird dude. Like, you can hear the passion to his voice compared to the other clips.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's just kind of amazing. James Golden, Snerdley here. Monday Rush Hour, don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The one and only legendary voice of Tony Bennett grew quiet. Of course, the San Francisco that he left his heart in is far different today. Thank you, Gavin Newsom. Thank you, Democrat Party. These days, you need a map to tell you where to avoid feces on the streets in that city by the bay and so many other things. And down in L.A., life is not much different. Let's check in very quickly with L.A. Mayor Karen Bass. Cut 11 first, and then if we have time, we'll play cut 10.
And this was on Father's Day. It was really sad. I went to East L.A. I went to 3 different restaurants, kind of a block with restaurants clustered. No one was there.
Right.
And the owners were saying that, because I said, well, is this like COVID? They said, no, worse.
Really?
Because the workforce is not coming in. But you remember how a lot of restaurants survived through home delivery?
Yeah.
They said people aren't ordering.
Wow.
And people aren't ordering because they don't have the money and they're scared.
So not ordering, not going to, because they're afraid of raids.
Right? They're afraid.
Yeah.
Afraid to leave their home.
Yeah, well, they're afraid to leave their homes because they're not in the country legally. And I don't know why this doesn't seem to sink in to anybody in California. We have time for that other Karen Bass. Let's.
Tom Homan has said physical description cannot be the sole factor for reasonable suspicion, but things like location, occupation, physical appearance add up, particularly if a person runs away or if there's a tattoo or something. You don't seem to believe that.
Location, sitting at a bus stop, walking down the street, selling fruit. No, I do dispute that. Absolutely. And, again, the National Guard should have never been deployed in the first place. We did not ask for them. This is the federal seizure of power from a governor deploying the National Guard when the National Guard were not even needed.
She's still whining about that. This is the execution and enforcement of American law, which constitutionally even a first grader understands it or can be made to understand it. The federal government's laws are actually supreme over the state laws. The state laws are over supreme of the city laws. The city laws are supreme over the town laws. It's a hierarchy. Karen. We got to go. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you. Your loved ones, my friends. God willing, back tomorrow. For Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the Tuesday edition. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?